I think I've learned that if a movie has bad Rotten Tomatoes score, it's having a bad reputation, it's clearly not liked by most people, and I go and see it and my expectations are very low, there's a good chance that that could flip my opinion on it a little bit and I could enjoy the film a little more because I feel like when you go into a film with low expectations and the film is even okay, you're going to be more surprised than if not. Like if you go into a movie with low expectations and it's an actual bad movie, I feel like that's different. But when you see a movie that's clearly not that bad, like Supergirl, and everyone's hating it and saying it's bad, and you watch it and your expectations are that low, it's just like I don't think it's bad at all. Now I'm not here saying that Supergirl is this masterpiece. Okay, I'm not going to say that. But what I am going to say is I'm here today to talk about why I do think Supergirl is really good. I do think it's a great continuation to the DC universe that we're going to have. And I could be biased because I am very excited for this DC universe. So excited. I'm a big James Gunn fan. I can't wait for the future of this franchise. I'm tuned down to Marvel. I've been a DC guy more than a Marvel guy most of my entire life. So I'm just so excited that we're finally getting a more comic accurate, more fun trilogy that's not the Snyderverse. And there could be a little bit of bias in there because I want every movie in this franchise to be good. I want this franchise to do well. But it's not going to change the fact that I'm a realist, okay? And when I see a movie, I try to be as objectively honest as possible. If I liked Supergirl, that's fine. But I'm still going to give my opinion on it, and I'm still going to try to be realistic. I'm not going to watch this movie and be like, I loved it, and I'm correct. That's not how I review movies. That's not how I do it, all right? If I love this movie, I will tell you, but I think there's a good way to judge a movie with subjective reality and objective reality. And the objective reality and subjective reality is that I think that Supergirl was a really good movie. I guess we can start off by saying how much I really like Superman. I mean, this Superman kind of got the same treatment with like people hoping it was bad, hoping it wasn't good, and I just wasn't for that at all because I'm like, come on, guys, can we judge the movie on its own, not the feedback you have behind it, not what you want it to be? Like, if we can just take Superman and just watch it and like it or not, give an honest opinion on it. And I don't think that many people were fair on Superman. I mean, it made $650 million. It did pretty well, but I think they want it to do better. And the thing about Supergirl is it's going to be an awful flop. It really is. But when I saw Superman, I was so excited because, like I said, I'm very excited for this universe. I loved it. I wasn't one of those people that was like, okay, this is like a masterpiece or anything. But people saying it's bad, I can't get on that. I can't understand that. Like every time I watch a movie, if I don't like it, 95% of the time I'll understand why someone's brain clicks that way. But in all realists, like I kind of really liked Superman a lot. And if anyone who doesn't like it, I get if you don't love that, because I've had the opinion that ever since The Dark Knight came out, it changed superhero movies forever. In a lot of good ways, in a lot of bad ways. I love The Dark Knight. It's one of my favorite films of all time. But I'm not going to sit here and say that what that movie did was good for comic book movies, because by nature, comic book films are not dark. They're not edgy. They're not serious. So the fact that, oh my God, this is the first comic book movie to ever make $1 billion, now every single comic book IP has to be The Dark Knight. They did it with Amazing Spider-Man. They did it with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They did it with Fox X-Men. They did it with, speaking of Superman, they did it with Man of Steel. It's just like it's an endless loop that we're never really getting. And it's like for the last 15 years of comic book film, every single comic book movie has to be serious, has to be edgy, and I feel like a lot of that is because of The Dark Knight. And I feel like that's what Superman really did, was bring back the return of a comic book movie. Colorful characters, goofiness, simplicity, not realistic. Like, that's what comic book movies are. They're out of our world. And I love when I can relate to a comic book movie, especially characters like Superman. But I really liked Superman. I thought it was so much fun. I love the characters. I didn't really have any problems with it. I gave it like an 8.5 out of 10. I really, really loved it. I thought it was a great start for this universe. So again, that could be another part of the bias because of how much I love Superman and how much I don't want people to disrespect Supergirl. But I'm not one of those people. When I was going to see Supergirl, I really went in with low expectations because every follower and creator that I love and I follow really gave it like a 4 or 5 out of 10. And that's not like a terrible score, but for a franchise that I want to do so well, like that's why I bring up the bias. Like, I was so excited to see this movie, and I had this huge thing in the back of my head saying, this is going to be a bad movie, so let's be honest. And I think that could have been a part of it, but I don't know, I just didn't really have any huge negatives with this movie. I didn't. So I love Superman, went into Supergirl, and I walked out of Supergirl very, not like so happy, but like I enjoyed my time. And a lot of people are comparing this movie to like the first two MCU movies, Iron Man and Incredible Hulk. And if Supergirl is the weakest DC movie, like in this franchise, we win. Like that's a huge win because Incredible Hulk is much worse than Supergirl. A lot of people aren't going to admit that, and I do think there might be a little bias with Hulk fans, Marvel fans, and same with me. I'm a more fan of DC, so I would love to say that Supergirl is better than Incredible Hulk. But Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, a pretty good start, and most of Phase One has iffy starts. And everyone talks about the MCU having like this huge, great longevity of amazing movies. They're talking out of their ass. Like Marvel has always had ups and downs, even from Phase One. So if Supergirl is an example of a miss, that's a win because Supergirl is not bad by any means, and it's not. I just don't have any negatives. I understand why people are calling it mid, because mid is, and I feel like in today's age when we use the word mid, it's more of like this is bad instead of like it's mid, because mid doesn't mean bad. Mid means okay. It's in the middle of the board, and if people want to call Supergirl mid, that's fine. But I compare it to other mid superhero movies in the MCU and other Fox X-Men movies, and I don't think it's that. I don't know. So we're going to review Supergirl, and I'm going to give you like the positives and negatives. I'm going to try not to spoil it, but if you have not seen it, maybe wait. We'll do no spoilers. We'll try not to do it. But if I do something spoilery, I will. I'll try to let you know before I say it. But yeah, let's get into the review. I think the first thing that I said when I walked out of this movie was if Marvel did this movie, if Marvel's job was to make a Supergirl movie and it was a character in their universe, and not just Marvel, I mean any superhero IP, Fox or any of them, Sony. But the thing that the DC did strong here was this. When I first walked out of the theater, I said, if any other studio made this movie, Supergirl would be a perfect person, kind of like Superman. And all the men are bad, all the men are evil. And that's a real thing that we see a lot, and we've seen 100 times, obviously, with female woman characters. Because when I went into Supergirl, my first thought was like, okay, I don't want to sound sexist, but we don't really have like a great female-led superhero movie. I mean, we have Wonder Woman, but I'm not a huge fan of that movie. I don't really care for the plot. I don't really care for Gal Gadot as an actress as much as most, but that's just an example. Like what female, I mean, Black Widow, but that movie's not good. And I'm like, we need a good superhero female-led movie. And when I walked out, I said, if Marvel had to make this movie, they would have had her a perfect person. They would have had all the villains be men, how they're all stupid, and Supergirl does no wrong. And one of the big things and takeaways I got from this movie as well is that she gets her ass beat in this movie. And I don't really recall a lot of female-led superhero movies or just female characters in general getting their ass beat. I feel like that's like a rule. Like, you can't beat women in a superhero movie. So I totally understand that. But Millie Alcock, like, she's not this at all. She's a polar opposite from Clark. And without spoiling it, she's just a polar opposite of Clark. Clark's this symbol of hope who sees the good in everybody, and Supergirl is this person who has clear issues. And they kind of hint that at the end of Superman is that she's a partier, she does a lot of getaways, and this movie kind of focuses on that. And I was really blown away with this tactic. I've never seen a woman so struggled with her in-depth emotions and past and trauma. And I think that was why I love the movie so much. I didn't see it as this superhero female-led movie. I didn't see it at all. I saw it as this like really deep character-driven movie, and it could be the low expectations that I went in with it, but I just haven't seen a lot of movies like this. Now, I'll say two things. I have never read the comic that this movie's based off of, so I don't have a lot of nitpicks. And even if I did read this story, I don't know if that would change my opinion, because I don't ever watch a movie and think it has to be the same as a book. I mean, a lot of Harry Potter fans say that the movies aren't good because there's better stuff in the book. Like, I get that, but a movie and a book are different. If I were to ever read the Supergirl comic that this movie's based off of, I feel like I would really try to separate the two. Like, this is clearly different. So I don't think I would have been that bothered by that, but just so you know. And then the other two is that people say this is like just another Guardians movie, which is weird because this movie's not directed by James Gunn. And I don't know how involved James Gunn is with the making of these movies so far. I'm assuming a lot, being the head producer of DC, but it is very Guardians, and I don't see why that's a problem because, Guardians is very space. It's more space than anything in the MCU gives, and DC characters, there's a lot of space. So I feel like if this is what we're going to do, it's fine. There's a lot of scenes that remind people of Guardians, with the music choices, the headset. There's a scene in this movie where Our lead character, Supergirl, is in a scenario where she needs to get out of it, and she's in the sky, in space, doesn't have her powers, and there's these people who try to. I don't want to give away too much, but basically antagonists who try to stop her, and it is the most Guardian scene ever. But is that a problem? I don't see it as a critique. But I guess the main positive of why I'm going to defend this movie is because of Millie Alcott. I think she's absolutely great as Supergirl. Like, again, leaving the theater, I thought, I can't wait to see her again. I really can't. Like, I think if Superman, Supergirl, Clayface, if all these movies in the next future of this entire franchise are all going to be different from each other in different pace, different style, different character development, that's an awesome idea. Like, Superman, man of hope, sees the good in everybody. Supergirl, depressed, trauma, finding her new discovery, and then Clayface, that's a whole different thing. Like, if we're going to do this, that's pretty cool. And that's one of the coolest things about this movie was the clear difference that she is from Superman. And I thought that, like, most of my life, I've always seen Supergirl as just, like, the female Superman. And that kind of was the big fear of this movie for me, was that it was just going to be like a blueprint, copy and paste, but it wasn't at all. And when I left the theater, I was like, I can't wait to see her again. When if she's in the Justice League, if she's in any future movies, like, I'm just excited to see this character again. I really am. And of course, David Cornsweet, amazing as Superman. I loved him in the first Superman movie. I don't think he's better than Christopher Reeves quite yet. And I'll say this, I do think that Superman is the best Superman movie of all time. That could be a separate video, but I don't love the Christopher Reeves superhero movies. But I do think Christopher Reeve is Superman. I almost said Spider-Man, but he's Superman in my opinion. I don't think there'll ever be a day where somebody else embodies him better than, Christopher Reeves. Rest in peace, my man. But this movie kind of reminded me how much I love David Cornsweet as Superman. The guy's so charming. He's so awesome. He steals every scene he's in, and I can't wait to see him interact with all these characters in this franchise. But Millie Alcott, she was great. I really thought that, her playing drunk, her being depressed, we get the flashback scenes, we see she looks great in the suit, and a lot of this movie being connected to her being ugly is really bothering me, because I'm like, come on, guys. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, I understand if Supergirl has to be pretty and that's the appeal, but, like, you're just bullying this woman. Because she looks great. She looks great in the suit. She embodies the suit very well. They film her pretty well. A lot of people are complaining about the CGI, but we'll get to that more in the negatives. But more positive, Jason Momoa as Lobo. The dude's awesome. He really is great. I guess he could have had more screen time and more of a narrative purpose, but I don't know. I really enjoyed him in this movie. I think he's a lot of fun. The design looks fucking great, obviously. The villain I like too, because the motivations of this villain is not very like, oh, I need to stop Supergirl. Like, Supergirl isn't really the protagonist of this villain's story. She's more of just like preventing a situation. And I kind of like that, because the villain in this movie is getting hate, but he's like a Mad Max villain. And I guess, spoiler alert for like the next 20 seconds, the villain in this movie is like the leader of this planet who takes it's an all-male planet, all-male species, and they're kidnapping young women. And it's like, this movie's like a John Wick take and merge story, like with, spoiler alert, Crypto, being on the verge of death on top of these girls being kidnapped. Like, it's just a disgusting premise for a villain. And he's sloppy. His voice is really cool. I mean, I understand he's one note, but I don't really mind a one note villain. I don't need a villain to be like Thanos and all his motivations. I have to agree with them. I have to see their purpose. Like, that's not it at all. But I really did enjoy this movie in a lot of positives. And I guess one of the main positives of this movie is that I didn't really have any negatives. I didn't really dislike anything in this movie. Again, it could be the lower expectations. It could have been that. I could have been expecting much worse, so when the worst stuff was given to me, it kind of just, like, flew past my head. But I understand the movie. The little girl in this movie is really good, but her character's not very interesting. We've seen this character 100 times. And there's a lot of films in this movie that we've seen 100 times. That's why people are comparing it to, like, the early ages of the MCU, because, like, this movie's just a movie. It's a superhero movie seen 100 times, But I don't know. I didn't see it that way. I saw it as more of a focus on discovery. And basically the whole point of this movie is that Millie Alcott's Supergirl is trying to tell this kid, spoiler alert for 20 seconds, that, I am already at the lowest of the low. And that's the coolest part of this movie, is the Kryptonian scenes. It's so cool, because What a cool concept that Clark was sent out to do wrong 8 years ago, or however long it was, and this group of people who tried to survive on Krypton past its destruction is a really cool premise. And that's the cool part about the difference of Superman and Supergirl is that Superman grew up in a loving family from when he had sentience till he was a grown man, and she had a family and had to say goodbye. And she's been living with this guilt and living with this sadness, and Krypto is the only piece of her home that she has left. And that's what makes the story so sweet as well. And one of the things that, is the negative of this movie is that's very predictable. Like, I knew Krypto wasn't going to die. I knew she was going to win, I don't think killing Krypto would be a good idea or anything, but I do think that, like, you could have done something a little more different. But that's, like, my only negative, because my final score, we'll get to it, but I really enjoyed this movie. Another negative, the CGI, I don't think it really bothered me because it was colorful, and CGI is more of a nitpick for me, unless it's like Flash, where it's like clearly this CGI is not the best at all, and it's needed to be worked on more and needed more budget. But the CGI only looked rough a little bit towards the end, but then again, the camera shots were kind of shaky cam, so another negative on its own. But the fight scenes were a lot of fun. They were whimsical. They were quick. I love the physical set pieces, all the practical characters. A lot of cool stuff. This movie's really funny. I think a lot of the side characters are a lot of fun. I had a good time. I guess my final score with this movie would be a 7 out of 10, and it could go to a 6.5 if I rewatch it. But I don't know. I was so... I was smiling the whole time watching this movie. I really was. And I had no issues. The issues are just, typical... issues with superhero movies, but there's just so many superhero movies that are mid and below for me that I don't even remember watching. They didn't leave any impact at all. I didn't smile at all. They make me feel nothing, and I don't think this movie did any of that. I think people are being too harsh on this movie. I don't know if it's because it's a woman. I don't know if it's because people who hate the DC and don't want it to do well. Marvel fans. I don't know if it's Snyder fans, because the Superman got the same treatment. And I don't know if this is going to happen with every single DC movie, but I hope it does not, because this movie's clearly going to flop. It really is. And it's sad that it's going to. I really enjoyed this movie. I guess a lot of people are just sick of mediocrity and sick of mediocre superhero films. Because I compare this movie to mediocre superhero films, and I didn't have as much a negative as those. You care for Supergirl. You want her to find a new... And spoiler alert, the ending is so cool for me, because I love how... Spoiler alert for 30 seconds. She kills the bad guy. When this whole movie she's saying killing him will not do anything. But it's to save her. And she's already gone down this path. I'm already broken. I've already made bad choices. I don't have a chance to be fixed like you do. So I thought that was really cool. Really cool twist ending. I thought that was fun. And then, of course, her going to Metropolis at the end. Again, I can't wait to see her interact with more characters. And all these characters interact. I want her to join the Justice Gang. So maybe I'm being a little too nice to this movie, but I think I really wanted to make this movie and this be the first video on this film page and entertainment page, because I just can't believe the treatment this movie was getting. And it is getting today. Like a 50% Rotten Tomatoes? I don't know. It might go up and lower from now, because I'm filming this just 2 days after its release, but I don't know. I had a good time with this movie. I would really like some feedback on what you guys think, and does this make you worried for Clayface and how it performs and how good that's going to be and how the people are going to react to that? I don't know, man. I'm just so excited for this universe. That could be the bias. I could be wrong, but I feel like there's not a lot of people defending this movie, and I feel like it had to be done, and I wanted to do it. So Supergirl's really good. Check it out. Subscribe. This is an entertainment page. We talk about all sources of entertainment, TV, movies. Check out my main channel where I do comedy skits, acting videos, and projects of my own. So check it out. And have a great day. Go see Supergirl. Take your family. Go see it multiple times. Promote this movie. Talk good about it if you truly feel that way. But I enjoyed it. Shout out Supergirl. Shout out DC, James Gunn. All you DC fans, stay cool. And let's stay together, all right? Subscribe. See you guys later.